I felt myself like wanting to like leave and just like explore and like see what else the world has to offer.
I was kicked out of my house very young as a senior. I didn't have anywhere else to go, so as a result of that, I ended up going to Texas State.
I just didn't want to live in the same setting as a 18-year-old girl where I knew I was still going to get treated as a 15-year-old.
I'm Dr. Aletta Estrada. I'm a retired psychologist, and I trained at UT Austin in their psychology department, clinical psychology. Tuition's so different now, so different now. I read a thing that from 1988 to 2018, it had gone up, it had tripled. So, you know, and I think, you know, how does anybody do it anymore?
My family wasn't wealthy. I got to Texas State through a Pell Grant and my grades, and got through scholarships. My first year was essentially paid for through that. My brothers attempted to help me, and so they would give me like gas money, and anytime I'd go see them over like Thanksgiving break or Christmas break, they would give me quarters. I remember that they'd give me like Ziploc bags full of quarters so I could have enough change to do my laundry. So it was tough. That first year was hard.
My brothers didn't go to college, and they're both older than me, so I figured if they weren't going to go to college, then my parents could help me tuition-wise.
Finances are really hard. It's like a big stress, obviously. I'm lucky because my parents do help me out like every now and then, and they do like provide a lot for me.
My boyfriend at the time moved to Texas State my sophomore year, and I thought about it also financially, like that would be helpful for us to move in together while he was going to Texas State at the same time. So we kind of sped up into that decision because it became a financial decision.
Next semester at this internship, it's an unpaid internship, 40 hours a week, and it's recommended to not work another job while taking this internship. That's what I signed off whenever I submitted the application. I am still going to need money to survive and get groceries on the weekends and for my rent especially. This past weekend that I was home, I was talking about it with my aunt, and she mentioned how my mom told her that she was going to have to start working more in order to pay my rent, and that makes me upset.
What was one thing that you saw students struggling during your practice?
I would say sometimes in depression, many times in anxiety. Just, am I going to make it? Am I going to meet the deadline? Am I going to have time to study for the test? I'm so tired I'm not absorbing the information. It's those kind of day-to-day things, especially during finals and midterms.
My freshman year, I was so stressed out, essentially depressed, I think. I'm not diagnosed, but I definitely did feel it.
I've always been kind of a super anxious person, and with that like comes just like a lot of like depressive tendencies.
Because of my roommate, I was able to join a sorority, which is Phi Beta Chi at Texas State, Christian-based sorority. So we would have a lot of Bible studies, a lot of those open, conversations about feelings and goals and commitments. And so those were the things that I was not having conversations around, whether internally with myself or with others. So that was something that kind of helped me jumpstart into motivating myself again and being more active.
I really would encourage them to go to their campus counseling center and seek therapy. It's a great place to start, and if the therapist knows what they're doing, and we can hope they do, they will know how to guide the student.
Step outside of your situation if you get too stressed.
Know how to study, know what you do in case you're stressed out, know how to get out of that funk when you're there, recognize that it is a funk.
However stressed you are, even if you're just a little bit stressed, a counselor or a therapist can be really helpful.
I think it's really, really good, really beneficial to have someone to talk to who's trained to listen.
You're doing way better than you think.
You're not alone. You feel like you are, but you're not. And there are very caring people who are trained to listen.
But I remember going up on stage and getting my degree and just being like, I did this. And the struggle of working full time and commuting and, you know, staying really late for afternoon classes or night classes, worth it.
For 2 years, filing deadlines were often extended as the nation came to grips with the deadly pandemic. It's different this year. Tax day is Monday, April 18th. That will be the last day to file your income taxes.
I think a lot of people this year expected the IRS to extend like they had in the past 2 years. However, those days are gone. I mean, them extending tax season 2 years in a row was unprecedented. It was unprecedented that they did it 1 year, let alone 2 in a row.
Some students aren't aware of the deadline nor where to file.
I don't know the exact date. I know I don't have that much time left though.
Many online programs are available to help file your taxes. TurboTax and H&R Block are among them.
You could do it yourself. You could log on to like an hrmblock.com or, you know, our competitor TurboTax. Do it online that way. Some of them offer where you can get assistance from an actual tax professional while doing them online.
You can also go to the irs.gov to find a list of websites you can use to file your federal income taxes for free. For Bobcat Update, I'm Jhordy Solis Gonzalez.
Sami Al-Sheikh is an engineer in residence at Texas State and a programmer for Meta, the parent company of Facebook. The class that Al-Sheikh teaches will help students land entry-level jobs in computing.
This is a program basically sponsored by Meta, where they kind of fully cover the expenses for an engineer who has industry insights and industry experience to come into the classroom and actually own and teach the curriculum for a course. So the idea is that we come in to teach key classes, and one of those key classes is the algorithms class I'm teaching, so that we can, where relevant, tie the curriculum to what students will see in industry, and maybe even add to the curriculum for things that might not normally be covered.
Some students say the class is like no other at Texas State.
I had heard from students that it was like a good course to take to prepare for like starting your career, and that Sami overall was just like a really good teacher for that class. And I knew it was a rigorous course, so I knew I wanted a good teacher who was like thoughtful and actually cared about his students. So that was why I took the class.
Al-Sheikh's class is available only to those who have taken the necessary prerequisites. For Bobcat Update, I'm Riley Griffin.
Reduced hours, new rules, and finding ways to survive. Those are measures taken at bars to stay open when COVID-19 threatened the hospitality business.
In the beginning of the pandemic, COVID definitely affected the bar industry, especially. We were having to wear masks while we were working, couldn't really enforce it on customers, but we were wearing them. We also had way less customers because people were more afraid to go out.
Austin bar owner Theo Carrasco says he remembers mopping the floors and feeling pretty desperate at times.
It had rained quite a bit and the bar had flooded, and that was probably 3 months into not having any income come in, so I can definitely say that I mopped the floors and took all the water out while tears were coming out of my eyes.
Some bartenders had to find new ways to supplement their income.
We were looking for just different options, partnering up with people, helping them pay rent, throwing parties for other bars staffs. You just had to really try and reinvent the wheel with what you were already finding success with, because it wasn't the same.
The pandemic also created opportunities.
We're actually starting to build our second location back on the east side. We moved to a new spot on 4th Street, close to the warehouse district. But no, we're going to keep expanding and building new bars and hopefully find success in the new blueprints and models that we're using.
Carrasco and Ackley both say they are pleased with the new avenues they have pursued. For Bobcat Update, I'm Natalie Passament. The Makerspace at Alkek One offers workshops to teach those who sign up how to make things. The creations that have resulted from these workshops include robot pets, interactive wearables, and thank you cards that light up and make noise.
This little guy right here, it's called a microbit. It's made by BBC and Microsoft, and it's a microcontroller, and we were showing people how to program and create interactive light-up displays.
No need for previous experience.
This particular kind of a thing is very easy to learn, and people can learn it really quickly as well, so they don't have to be experts ahead of time.
These workshops provide instruction on the technologies available at the Makerspace.
Knowledge level to come in and use the Makerspace, it could start at 0. We have a lot of different students and different faculty staff that come in here with no knowledge level, and they leave with something that they can actually create.
Participants must pay for the materials used.
So the only cost to use anything in the Makerspace is material cost. That means the consumable material you actually use to produce something. So a 3D printer uses this plastic filament. You just pay for that by the weight of what you actually used.
Discover your creative side at the Makerspace in Alkek 1, open from 8:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. For Bobcat Update, I'm Natalie Passman.